Okay, so I wanted to talk about Shion because obviously I talk about all the new Overwatch heroes typically. Since we're young, it's Juno even. I've spoken about the design of these characters and given my feedback and my thoughts. And Shion, I am very happily positive. I am very positive about this character. And that means I actually have a lot less to say than I did on previous heroes. Sierra, I had a much bigger video because I very much did not enjoy Sierra, and so there's a lot more to talk about. Whereas Shion's actually very fun. That I kind of just enjoyed playing games of Shion, and I don't have too many criticisms, and so I'll get to them eventually, but let's just touch on how this character to me is one of the best new heroes that they have had in a very, very long time. Like, I mean very long time. She is genuinely a fun character. So let's go over what I liked very quickly. We want to start off with the aesthetics. I think aesthetically they do belong in Overwatch very well. I think this is one of the first characters that I initially saw and thought that looks like an Overwatch character. Some of the previous characters have been a bit, obviously new characters don't feel like they fit into the game because they're new, but like Sierra and some other characters I was very hesitant on, but Shion, instantly from the look of this character, I was like, yes, this person feels like they should have always been in Overwatch, right? This type of character should have always been here. I also think the kit offers something unique, fairly unique at least, without going too far from Overwatch. It still feels like a good kit that deserves to be in Overwatch, but it feels fairly new and fresh, which is great. A very satisfying kit is what I want to bring up. The kit is very satisfying to use. Sometimes there is just nothing better than hitting someone in the middle of the air with a bike. It is such a satisfying cooldown to use and to land. And I think a lot of the satisfaction is coming from how well animated this character is. You saw that bike. I mean, it feels great, right? You can like drift, you can drift around, you can, you jump up and throw it and things like that. And then look at this reload animation. I reload way too much on this character because it looks sick. It is so cool looking, the reload. Like, and this animation, like, it feels impactful and it feels awesome, right? I love the right click. The animations genuinely are amazing. And that's something I feel like does need to be touched on because it's such a big thing. Like, look at this. It's great. It's great. It's just genuinely amazing. The ultimate is also equally as satisfying and cool looking. I think it's a very satisfying ult to pull off. Like, I don't know, something about just being a dash around the place. It is a really, really fun ult. So yeah, good job on the animation front and also just making the kit feel fluid. Alright, things I have noticed about Shion. She actually feels very ability focused. Now initially, and I don't know if other people had this as well, I thought she was going to be a gun character. Like, I thought she, she had abilities that helped with a gun, but I thought most of her damage was going to come from the fact that she did to shoot people. And now, yes, she does actually do an extreme amount of damage. It's in a 20-meter radius, 20-meter range, right? And it's pretty good damage. You have to be pretty accurate, though, but it is pretty good damage. But the bike does incredible AoE damage. Like, I know that doesn't look amazing. That's half their health in an AoE area, right? AoE area. That also knocks them back, as you can see. It boops people. It is such a strong ability, and not in a necessarily, I'm saying in a balanced way, but in a way of like, this is just such a good kit. Like, to be able to just be behind a wall, jump up a little bit, go like that, you will do so much damage to someone. And then you combo that with your burst, with your right click. The abilities are genuinely some of the focus of this character. It is quite funny how they made a character that looks like a gun character with some ability cooldowns, and they became more ability focused than Unrun, who was intended to be ability focused. That's quite funny. The right click also feels like one of your main tools of dealing damage and doing things. It does so much damage. It is your big burst. It is ridiculously good. It does a lot of damage, okay? And if you're really close, I don't even think you really need to tighten it that much. But it also means you get pretty good range on it. I don't actually fully know what the range is. It feels really good, though. 20 to 30 meters, which is already the range you're going to be playing at. So you can be here and do that much damage to someone and then finish them off. Or like, maybe you could jump up, throw your bike. Okay, booped them too far. But, and then right-click them. So the abilities are a huge focus here. What that has led to is the bike feels more offensive because you would be wasting the ability if you were to not use it on someone. It's so strong that I feel like it's such a waste to not throw the bike into the team or someone, right? which is good and bad, because it means she actually isn't that mobile. Even though she looks like a mobile character, what I have found, at least in practice, is that she actually isn't that incredibly mobile. Obviously, the bike goes really fast and it takes you really far, and she's got a dash. So there are mobility cooldowns, but that bike is kind of best used to deal damage and to be a source of burst damage and AoE damage. So you're not going to be used in it to move, which means the angles that you're going to take aren't going to be as deep or going to be as mobile, and so you're actually going to be playing a little more statically and a little more throw the bike, chill, you know, dash to get some overhealth so that you can live engages and create some distance between you and maybe an enemy that dove you. You're not going to be this hyperactive mobile character like someone like Genji, Pharah, or Tracer obviously is. Is that bad? I don't really know. I don't really care. I don't know what they were going for the character. I think this works and feels fun. She kind of has ended up in a little bit of a middle ground between the traditional hit scan, like a Cass, and Parasite Tracer. And this could, again, just be me. I don't have as much time as maybe some other people might have, you know, playing in like a high ranks, and you know, I'm not, you know, I've been a little out of the loop with DPS, so maybe I'm just dumb, but to me, she sort of does hit this little middle ground, because what I found is that you can't really play her like a Tracer, Genji, Pharah, or even Mei, because, again, it could just be bad, but her ability to, like, solo contest lanes is not as incredible as those other characters are, which is a very key thing about some of the flex DPS, is that they should be able to kind of sustain themselves and live on these lanes. It's a lot more difficult for her to do that and take those duels. You have to, you know, be really mechanically strong and really have all your cooldowns and be prepared for it. But characters like Tracer, Genji, and Pharah, and Mei are able to kind of just survive longer. They have better mobility, they have better burst damage or survivability or something like that, whereas hers is not as high. She's a bit more that constant poke, which is a bit different for a, you know, character with this level of mobility. At the same time, she doesn't have the range to play like Ashe or Cass that well. You know, there's pretty big fall off, and her shots can be a little tough to land. Like, you know, this is really not consistent enough damage. You have to be here to do the damage, which is fine. Now, this all sounds like problems, and it sounds like more like criticisms than it really is, but what you gotta understand is I am picking at real depths in a kit. I have gone so far with this character that I'm picking at specific high-level playstyle choices with this character, which, granted, is important, but it's not normally something that you will instantly cover, but that's because the character is so good. If you look back at when I talked about Sierra, my criticisms started at the fundamentals of her kit design. I was talking about how boring the character is. I was talking about how underwhelming her abilities were. I was talking about how bad the sounds were, the animations, the way she looked. There were so many problems on the surface that meant I didn't even get into the weeds of this. Whereas Shion looks great, feels great, animations are good, sounds are good, characters were designed. So I'm kind of picking at what does she provide? What does she do? What does she do that's different to other characters? And really, she doesn't really do anything that uniquely different. I'd say I will see how time goes on and where she kind of falls. You know, where people play her, what they play her into, who they play her with, and stuff like that. Like I said previously in another video, I just really was hoping that this character would be this type of character where it's a very simple kit executed well, and that's exactly what this is. I don't think she has the highest skill ceiling we've ever gotten, or she's some crazy new hero, but she's fun, she's fluid, and feels good, and that is all that matters. An extra little thing I wanted to add here. I kind of wish her bike could, like, go up walls better or something, and like bounce off the walls. Like, there's some extra tech there with the bike. I wish there was a little more tech. And also, I wouldn't mind a damage nerf to the bike, but the length of time you're on it be increased. I want to be on the bike. I want to drive the bike. It's like 4 seconds. I want to be on it longer. I get why, you know, I get it. But I kind of just wish you could be on the bike a little longer. And maybe then you could add a thing where if you got shot while on the bike, you got slowed down a little bit. You know, that way it wasn't too broken. But I want to ride the bike more. Okay, overall, she's a decently skill expressive hero. Pretty mechanical. I actually think that's underlooked. She's a little mechanical. But there's nothing pushing the ceiling too high. She feels fluid. She feels fun. Her kit is distinctive enough that I could see people maining her and really falling in love with her because she is distinctive enough. But she, again, doesn't have necessarily some unique factor that no other character is able to do at the moment. And we'll see how she gets played as time goes on. to the direction that devs take her in. I really hope they do maintain the balance between her abilities being all impactful. I really don't like the characters that are hyper focused on one aspect of their kit, and she is not. I think this is strong. I think the bike is strong. I think her guns are strong. And the dash is just a sustain tool. So yeah, I like that balance between the things, and if they can somehow keep that, that's great and that's perfect. And we could have just a really fun, solid character. Not every character also has to be, you know, this perfectly niche fill-in pro play specific character. They can just be this fun little thing. Alright, let me know your thoughts on Shion. I hope other people have been enjoying the character. Let me know any problems you maybe fall into. And yeah, and another thing I want to bring up quickly before I go. If you're finding the bike hard to handle, you can change the relative aim in. It is a little quick for me, and so I did lower it. So I'm just saying, if you're struggling with that, you can do that. Okay. Anyway, peace out. Enjoy Shion.